YouTube is filled with videos of people talking about how Vietnam is the cheapest country in the world. They show the cheap food and drinks, fast delivery service, and luxury travel at an affordable price. But is that still true in 2024?
Now, we have lived in Vietnam for 3 months and we are going to tell you whether that's true or not. Our experience in terms of cost of living has been a bit of a mixed bag, and we're going to give full visibility without holding back anything.
So stick around till the end because the final cost is definitely going to surprise you.
For those who don't know us, we are Nabeel and Zenesta, and last year we left Australia to start an adult gap year with our toddler. Our goal is to travel while creating our freedom-based business and potentially find a new home for us. We have been traveling all over Asia for the last 9 months, and Vietnam we have also budgeted 4,000 Australian dollar per month. So stick till the end to find out whether we meet our budget. Some things to consider before you continue with the video. This is a budget that is relevant to a family of 3, which is us, 2 adults and a toddler. Everyone's travel comfort is different. We are not backpacking, neither are we luxury traveling. We are somewhere in between, in the middle ground. We didn't compromise on things that mattered to us. We liked a nice apartment in a good location and we went for it. And one of the important things is our daughter's education. So we always worked around finding a preschool for our daughter. Next, we lived in Ho Chi Minh City, which is the economic hub of Vietnam. Hence, it is a bit more expensive in relation to other areas like Hanoi or Da Nang. And lastly, all the costs that we will be talking about are in monthly average and in Australian dollars. We are going to discuss accommodation, transport, Yara's preschool, food, which includes eating out, grocery and takeaway, entertainment, which includes travel within the country, and miscellaneous, which includes co-working space, gym, health and other stuff. One recommendation in terms of choosing accommodation is instead of going with Airbnb, maybe you can look for an agent through Facebook group or expat groups with which you can get a much more affordable house. For accommodation, we spent about 1,165 Australian dollars per month. Now this cost includes the rent, the condo management fees, electricity and water usage. We have lived in an area called Vinhome Central and we did not compromise and got a luxury apartment in District 1 with all the amenities that one can imagine.
For transport, we have spent 410 Australian dollars on average per month. In Vietnam, in most of the metropolitan cities, there's hardly any public transportation, but that's not really an issue because ride-sharing apps are very reasonable and also includes motorbike options. To be honest, we found their bikes much safer than in Bangkok because not only do they provide you with a helmet, they also drive quite normally.
For Yara's preschool, we spent about 625 Australian dollars per month. Now, this is something that we chose for ourselves because it allowed us to focus on our online businesses and she can also get interactions with kids of her own age. Now, this we found is a win-win situation for both of us. And also, if you're interested to see how a preschool looks like in Vietnam, we have done a video on the school that she went to. I'll put a link in the description and also link it here so that you can go and have a look.
For food, we've spent 1,035 Australian dollars per month. Now, this includes grocery, eating out, and takeaway. We hardly cook as a family, but here in Vietnam, we really didn't have to bother because takeaways and eating out is very affordable. But if you do cook, then you can decrease your costs even further. Buying from local markets is actually much cheaper than buying at a supermarket like Vinmart or Big C, but we bought it from these supermarket chains because of the convenience.
Next, let's come to entertainment. Now, entertainment includes traveling within the country. Now, this one is a whopping 742 Australian dollars per month on average. Now, here is the major point of difference. Trips and excursions in Vietnam are pretty expensive. Also, their domestic flights, we found them to be quite expensive in comparison to all the other internal flights in the other Southeast Asian countries. We only did a 6-day trip with our family in northern Vietnam during our entire 3-month stay, and that cost us close to 2,000 Australian dollars. And since we stayed with family, we didn't have to pay for eating out and etc. In comparison, we traveled to 5 different locations in Malaysia in 3 months, and the costs were half of this. So clearly, traveling within Vietnam is quite expensive.
The last category is miscellaneous costs, and in this category we spend 402 Australian dollars per month on average. Miscellaneous includes things like co-working, gym, etc. We got a gym, but we did not get a co-working space and worked from home instead. So did we meet our budget of 4,000 Australian dollars or not? When we do a tally, you will see that we have spent 4,379 Australian dollars per month.
So we did not meet the budget at all.
So we were $379 per month over budget. But here is the kicker. What about international flights? When we add international flights, our overall monthly cost jumps up to 4,940 Australian dollars, which is $490 per month over. Now, our international flights were actually a little bit higher this time around because we were flying from Bangladesh, and for whatever reason, flying in or out to Bangladesh is always quite expensive, and we also used a lot of airline points as well. So per day, we were spending 144 Australian dollars without flights, and with flights, it was 162 Australian dollars.
So that's quite a bit in comparison to what we have been spending in all the other countries in Southeast Asia.
But lastly, we want to caveat by saying the northern Vietnam was amazing, and we got an opportunity to travel with our family,
which is very priceless. We wouldn't trade it for any other way.
But you know, this shouldn't discourage anyone from going to Vietnam, because a lot of people would want to go to Vietnam, but they would just want to go there for a short period of time. And because excursions and traveling is getting expensive, you might be discouraged, but there are ways that you can reduce it.
Had we not taken that trip with our family, our cost would have been much more lower. But then we did take it because we wanted to take it, and it
was a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Correct.
Overall, even the living cost, like we can predict that over the next 3 to 4 years, it will actually get pricier because Vietnam is economically growing much faster, and I can see it'll be its own version of Bangkok.
And we can clearly see the signs, like it has so much value to offer in terms of food, delivery services, nanny facilities, housing, and gyms and workplace. Everything is there.
So we haven't met our budget, but in the grand scheme of things, we're actually not unhappy by the end result, even though it was like around $900 over per month.
That's quite a bit, yes.
It's quite a bit, but you know, we are hoping that by the end of our adult gap year, we'll be able to average it out. You know, we'll be not that far from the final goal.
If you're someone who is looking to travel to Vietnam, we've done a video which talks about 12 things that you must know before traveling to Vietnam. So I'll link it over here and you can go and have a look.
And we've also done a comprehensive guide about how you can design your own adult gap year as well. It's completely free. I will put it in the link for you if that's something that you're interested in.
So with that, we'll see you in the next video. Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye.